Fancy Nancy, Halloween or bust. Halloween is so much fun, I tell Frenchie, because it is all about dressing up, and that happens to be something I excel at. On Halloween, you can be a caterpillar or a butterfly, a glittering silvery snowflake, or a Hollywood movie star. Or something completely unique. That's a fancy way of saying one of a kind. I am a plumosaurus, a dinosaur that's imaginary. Even very plain people like my parents get fancy on Halloween. And we must not forget the bonbons. That's French for candy. Really, what's not to love? This year I'm going to a Halloween party. I will be a bunch of grapes made from fuchsia balloons. My friend Bree is going as a strawberry. At the party, there are many dazzling costumes. There are robots and pirates. There is even a lion tamer. Bree's costume has black sequins for strawberry seeds. You look spectacular, I tell her. Bree likes my costume too. You even smell grapey, she says. Great bubble bath, I whisper back. Soon it is time for games. First, we bob for apples. It is very hard to do. I pop 4 of my balloons. Next, we play pin the tail on the monster. I bump into Robert's plastic sword and pop! Go 2 more balloons. By the end of musical chairs, all of my balloons have popped. This is disastrous, I cry. That is a fancy way of saying very bad. Now I am just a brown stalk, and brown is such a plain color. But after some punch and many bonbons, I feel much better. Then I get a brilliant idea that is both fancy and smart. I can make myself a brand new costume, and I'll make it extra fancy. Fancy Nancy, fancy day in room 1A. I am peering out the window of my classroom. Peering is a fancy word for looking. It has rained all week. We can't play outside. Miss Glass is reading a story. Everybody looks glum and gloomy. That's a fancy way to say we are in a bad mood. She puts down the book. Class, we need something fun to look forward to, Miss Glass says. Does anyone have ideas? We all sit and ponder. That means we think hard. Clara says, let's go bowling. Robert says, let's go see a movie. Miss Glass says, those are interesting ideas, but let's think of something to do in school. At home, I ponder while I pick out a dress for tomorrow. I never feel glum or gloomy in this fancy dress. Being fancy is fun. It makes me happy. Ooh la la. All of a sudden, I have an idea. My pondering has paid off. The next day at school, I say, what if we have a fancy day? We can wear fancy clothes and eat fancy food and use fancy manners. Lionel holds up his pinky. Oh, darling, he says, you must try the baked worms. Miss Glass looks stern. That means now is not the time to be silly. I think this is a great proposal, Miss Glass says. She explains that a proposal is like an idea. Everybody else likes my idea too, even Lionel. Next Monday will be fancy day, Miss Glass says. We can start preparing now. We make fancy placemats. We make fancy napkin rings from pipe cleaners. We also make fancy crowns. Lionel makes the points on his crown look like bloody shark teeth. He is such a goofball. At snack time, we put napkins on our laps. We chew with our mouths shut. When Robert burps, he says, pardon me. I teach everyone how to say thank you in French. It's merci. You say it like this. Merci. That evening, I tell my family about Fancy Day. It was my proposal. That means it was all my idea. Over the weekend, Bree and I baked cupcakes for Fancy Day. On Sunday night, I look through my wardrobe. That's fancy for all my clothes. I find my most fancy dress. I will also wear boas, bracelets, tons of necklaces, lace gloves, and sparkly clips in my hair. I am fancy all the time, so I must be super duper fancy on Fancy Day. On Monday morning, I am stunned. That means surprised. Everyone looks so posh. But where is Miss Glass? Why isn't she here yet? All of a sudden, Miss Glass rushes in. Her tooth broke this morning. The dentist already fixed her up. She is fine now, but she is not fancy. Miss Glass looks startled. That means surprised, only in a bad way. Oh no, she cries. I left all my fancy stuff at home. We tell Miss Glass not to feel bad. You can have my clips, I say. Bree offers her boa. Everyone helps dress up Miss Glass. It is like playing with a giant doll. In no time, she is super posh. Soon it is party time. Miss Glass says, we must thank Nancy for Fancy Day. The kids all lift their cups of lemonade. Everybody's pinky is up. But no one says thank you. They all show merci. Fancy Nancy, apples galore. I adore autumn. Autumn is a fancy word for fall. The air is so crisp. The foliage is so colorful. Foliage means leaves on the trees. Ooh la la! Today our class is going on a trip. We are going apple picking. I hope we pick gala apples. My dad likes them best, I tell Lionel. He is my trip buddy. A gala is a fancy party, so gala apples must be fancy. Lionel does not answer. He covers his mouth and gags. Is he car sick? Miss Glass shouts, "Stop the bus!" Then Lionel laughs and says, "It was just a joke." Miss Glass reprimands Lionel. That is fancy for scolding. She often has to reprimand Lionel. At last we arrive at the orchard. An orchard is a garden of trees. Each tree is loaded with apples. There are apples galore. Everyone get a basket. Remember, do not climb on branches, Miss Glass says. There are lots of apples near the ground. I pick lots of apples. Lionel juggles apples. He is an expert juggler. All of a sudden, he stops. He drops the apples and runs around in a circle. Ow! Ow! Bees are stinging me! Miss Glass dashes over. That means she hurries to us. Lionel laughs and says, "I was just joking." "That is not a funny joke," Miss Glass tells him. She reprimands Lionel some more. After that, Lionel behaves himself. We pick lots of apples. Apples galore. We pick Jonathan apples. We pick Honeycrisp apples. We do not find a tree with gala apples. "Let's look over there," Lionel says, and he dashes off. I don't think we should go so far away, but trip buddies must stay together, so I dash after Lionel. Voila! Here are gala apple trees. There is one problem. The apples are on high branches. A ladder is by another tree, but Lionel will not help me get it. He starts climbing up the tree. Miss Glass told us not to, I remind him. Does Lionel listen? If you said no, you are right. Up, up he climbs. Lionel is way out on a branch. There are so many apples. Gala apples galore. Lionel shakes the branch. The apples do not drop. He crawls out farther. Be careful, I say. There is a cracking sound. Is the branch breaking? Help! Help! Lionel yells. Help! Help! I yell too. Kids nearby look over and laugh. They think it's a joke. Miss Glass does not hear us. She is too far away. Can you jump, Lionel? I ask. It's too far down, he says. Then I remember the ladder. I dash over and drag it back. It is so heavy. I perspire a lot. That is fancy for sweat. Miss Glass is at the tree now. She sees that this is no joke. Together we stand up the ladder. Lionel climbs down to safety. Crack! The branch breaks. Down come the apples. Miss Glass is very mad at Lionel. He cannot go on the hayride. He cannot help make applesauce. On the ride back, I say, "Thank you for the gala apples." I save some applesauce for Lionel. He slurps it down and burps. What a goofball. Then we each eat a gala apple. They do not look fancy, but they are very tasty. That's a fancy word for yummy. There are plenty left for Dad. Gala apples galore. Fancy Nancy, Splendid Speller. I don't mean to brag, but I am a splendid speller. Splendid. Splendid is even better than great. Bree is a splendid speller too. We practice spelling in our clubhouse after school. I can even spell in French. Chien means dog. You say it like this: she-en. My sister is very impressed. Impressed means she thinks I'm great. My sister cannot spell any words. My parents spell out stuff they don't want her to hear. They used to fool me this way, but not anymore. She has to get a shot, S-H-O-T, at her checkup tomorrow. At school today, Miss Glass says, "Our first spelling test is on Friday. Here is a list of test words: pass, glass, class, happy, sad, glad, mad, peak, weak, giggle." We write down the words. Some kids make faces. They think the words are hard. But Bree and I are happy. Happy. This test will be easy. At dinner, I practice some words. Please, PASS, the carrots. May I have a GLASS of milk? Dad claps and says, "Bravo!" I don't mean to brag, I say, but Bree and I are the best spellers in the CLASS. Later, I memorized the harder words. Memorize is fancy for learn by heart. The hardest is giggle. Giggle. It has so many G's. I practice all week. WEEK. It will be splendid to spell every word right. By Friday, I am ready. Miss Glass says each word slowly. The last one is giggle. I write down Gigle. Is that right? I am not sure. I try it another way. Giggle. Is that right? Then I do something wicked. Wicked is way worse than bad. I peek, Peek, at Bree's paper. Bree has Giggle. I bet Bree is right. I start to fix my word. I want to get all the words right. I want to be a splendid speller. Then I stop. No, 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 I say to myself. I handed my test to Miss Glass. If she knew I peeked, I bet she would hate me. At the playground, I do not play with any kids. At lunch, I do not eat my cookies. I do not sing in music. At the end of the day, we get back our test. I got one wrong. Giggle. Miss Glass takes me aside. "What's wrong, Nancy?" she asks. "Are you upset about the test? You did very well." I tell her what I did. I cry so hard I get hiccups. I am a wicked cheater. Miss Glass says, "Nancy, it was wrong to peek at Bree's paper, but you did not cheat. You stopped before you cheated. I am proud of you for that." "You are?" I say. I still feel sad, SAD, but I do not feel so wicked. On the way home, I confess to Bree. Confess means telling something bad you did. She forgives me. She shows me her test. "I forgot a P in happy," she says. Maybe we are not always splendid spellers, but we are always splendid friends. Fancy Nancy, our Thanksgiving Banquet. Ooh la la! Grandma and Grandpa are hosting Thanksgiving dinner this year. After driving for hours, we have finally reached our destination. That's fancy for the place we want to be. Grandpa opens the door and gives me a giant bear hug. Bonjour, we both say. My grandfather and I love to speak French to each other. What a celebration this will be. There is a gigantic turkey, Grandma's secret stuffing, green beans, and authentic cranberry sauce that didn't come out of a can. And desserts? There are almost too many to count. This is not just the Thanksgiving dinner. This is way fancier. This is a Thanksgiving banquet. When it is time to eat, I head for the big table. My mom tells me to go sit at the kids' table. Again. But I'm so much more mature than Jojo and my cousins, I say. Mature is fancy for grown up. I know, but there aren't enough chairs at our table, Mom says. I take my place at the kids' table. There are paper plates, paper napkins, and a paper tablecloth. The glasses are plastic. It is not nearly as fancy as a big table, but the food is simply delicious. I am careful to eat with my pinky up, and after each bite, I dab my lips with my napkin. That means I wipe my mouth very gently. Jojo is not using her party manners. She puts her napkin on her head and makes silly faces. My cousin Arthur laughs so hard he spits out some cranberry juice. My uncle has to intervene, which means he makes everyone stop acting so immature. Would it be all right to switch seats with you? He asks me. Mais oui, yes, yes, I tell him. Of course. Grandma hands me a fresh napkin with a pretty holder around it. You can wear it like a bracelet. Très chic. You say it like this. Très chic. It means very fancy. And the gravy is passed around in a special little boat? This is more like it. I am ready for a second helping. I ask politely for the gravy boat. Oh no, I spill a little by accident. My grandma says, I just spilled some cranberry sauce. Don't feel bad. That's what the tablecloth is for. What a charming hostess my grandma is. I finish eating way before anybody else. Have you noticed how long it takes grown-ups to eat? And how they only talk about stuff in the news? I can spell long words, I tell my aunt. Like dazzle. D-A-Z-Z-L-E. That's wonderful, my aunt says. But I can tell she is not really interested in spelling. Ooh, Jojo and my cousins are already starting on dessert. My sister is having apple pie a la mode. That's French and fancy for with ice cream. Jojo waves to me and takes another bite of pie. Yummy, she says. Now everyone at the kids' table is coloring with the new crayons and pads of paper Grandma bought for us. Not to brag, but I am a very talented artist. May I be excused? I ask Mom. I point to the kids' table. I'm going to help them draw stuff. First, I get a plate and sample the desserts. Then I show everyone how to make butterflies. It's easy. You just make a big bee together with another big bee that's backwards. Because it's Thanksgiving, I also teach them something I learned in school. You trace your hand and voila! Soon you have a turkey. When we are done, we bring our turkeys over to the adults' table. How to make a paper turkey. 1. Trace your hand. 2. Add feathers. 3. Add eyes and a beak. 4. Then fancy it up. Voila! A turkey. They are wonderful, Grandma and Grandpa tell us. They put the turkeys in the middle of the table like a centerpiece. Then Grandpa stands up and says how grateful, that's fancy for being happy and thankful, he is to have the whole family together. Me too. I'm so thankful for Thanksgiving.